Hi. I'm attorney Aiden Kramer with the law office of Aiden H. Kramer in Colorado, and you're watching All Up in Your Business. So as you might know from my last two episodes, I'm using a couple of episodes to answer some of the really great questions that you guys ask me. So today's question comes from William. William asked me, what is the minimum paperwork required to create and form an LLC? Now actually, William asked specifically about a single member LLC, but it's pretty much the same thing, so I'm just talking in general terms about LLCs. So I thought that instead of just kind of rambling on about some of the important paperwork when starting an LLC, I would do a kind of late night talk show-esque top 10 list. Doesn't that sound exciting? So here we go with the top 10 things that every LLC needs. Well, okay, not every LLC. Most LLCs are going to need some of these things. There are a few things that every LLC needs. Number 10, agreements. Whether they be service agreements, independent contractor agreements, subcontractor agreements, most businesses are going to need some sort of an agreement in place to operate their business. I use engagement letters, which are a fancy lawyer word for service agreements that I have all my clients sign. If I was to hire any contractors or any employees, I would have them sign employment or contractor agreements. So pretty much every business is going to need some sort of an agreement in place in order to start their business. I'm going to cheat a little bit and kind of combine 9 through 7 because I couldn't really decide which one was more or less important, and they're all kind of equal because some businesses need some licenses and some don't, but 7 through 9 are licenses. Now, if you're selling a product or a specific kind of service, then you might need a sales tax license. Depending on the business that you're in, you might need a business license. Depending on your city or your state or your county, some cities or counties require different types of licenses if you want to operate a business or do business in that location. For example, I need a license to practice law in order to be a lawyer. So if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be able to have my own law office. Plus, my office is in Denver, and the city of Denver requires that any business located in Denver have an occupational and privilege tax license. I think that's what it's called. Basically, I have to get a license to have a business in Denver. So depending on your business, you may need 1, 2, 3, who knows how many types of licenses. Number 6 of the top 10 things you'll probably need to start your LLC is Form 2553. Now, this is the IRS form that you would use to elect to be taxed as an S corporation. Whether or not you need to file Form 2553 is going to depend on whether or not it would make sense for you tax-wise to elect to be taxed as an S-Corp. If you're wondering more about what an S-Corp is, look back some of my old videos. I discuss S-Corps. Number 5 is insurance. This is again going to depend on the type of business that you're operating. Some businesses will just want some sort of general liability insurance to protect themselves. Some will need workers' compensation. If you're going to hire any employees, you need workers' comp insurance. Some companies like mine, as a lawyer, or if you're a doctor or some other sort of profession where you might get sued, you might need malpractice or errors and omissions insurance. So depending on the type of business that you're operating, you're probably going to need some sort of insurance policies. Number 4 is an initial resolution or a consent. Now, this isn't necessary for LLCs. It is usually a good idea, though. You want to do something when you're starting the business to show that you have adopted the other documents like bylaws and articles of organization, and that you as the business owner have resolved to operate that business in accordance with the articles of an organization and the bylaws. In that initial resolution, you might also resolve to elect officers. LLCs in Colorado, at least, don't need officers, but they may have officers like a president, a treasurer, secretary. You can resolve to elect people in those positions. If you have decided to elect to be taxed as an S-Corp, you would resolve to elect to be taxed as an S-Corp. So those are just a few examples of things that you could resolve to do in that initial resolution or consent to action. All right, now we're getting into the good stuff. Number 3 of the top 10 things that every LLC needs or probably needs to operate is a Form SS4. This is the form that you file with the IRS to get a federal tax ID number, also known as an EIN or an employer identification number. Even if you aren't going to have employees right away, you're probably going to need this EIN to open up a business bank account. Most, if not all, businesses require a business to use an EIN to open up a business account. So number 3 is this Form SS4, which is the application to get a federal tax ID number. Number 2, an operating agreement. Every LLC needs an operating agreement. The operating agreement is the internal document wherein the owner or owners agree to how the business is going to be operated, what the type of business it's going to do, how members are going to get paid, how distributions are going to be made, what will happen in the event of disagreements between the owners. All things like that are set forth in the operating agreement. And even if you're a single member LLC, it's still important to have your operating agreement in place because you're still a business and you still need that evidence of you operating your business. So number 2, the operating agreement is definitely something that every LLC needs. And finally, number 1 of the top 10 pieces of paperwork that all LLCs need, articles of organization. Now I can say with pretty much 100% certainty that every single LLC in existence needs articles of organization. Now I know that every LLC needs this because that is what you file with the Secretary of State to create your LLC. If you didn't do this, you wouldn't have an LLC. So, number 1 of the top 10 things is definitely articles of organization. And there you have it, folks, the top 10 things that every LLC needs. If you have any other questions about that, go ahead and comment them below. If you're in Colorado and you would like to speak with me personally about starting an LLC, feel free to contact me. My phone number and email are below. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Aiden Kramer, and I'll see you next time.